Gird your loins and light your lamps. You also must be prepared, for at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come. The message is clear. Be watchful. Jesus is frequently telling us to be watchful, to be vigilant. That's why he says, gird your loins. The Jews, of course, wore flowing garments, long robes, and to enable them to do certain kinds of work, they used to kind of hitch up the flowing garments in some sort of a rope around their waist. So when Jesus says, gird your loins, the Jews understood that a person was getting ready for work, for effort, for a journey. And similarly, having your lamps lighted or lamps burning indicates the sort of attitude that a person should have who is on the watch or is waiting for someone's arrival. And so this is why Jesus says, you also must be prepared, for at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come. Clearly, he is speaking about death. God has chosen to hide from us the time of our death and the time when the world will come to an end, and for a good reason. He chooses to keep this hidden from us so that we will always be preparing for it. The idea is that Jesus wants us to remember death, always, because this will lead us to always be prepared when our allotted time on this earth is up, and we will face the particular judgment of our individual soul. About 400 years before Christ, the island of Sicily was ruled by a tyrant known as Dionysius of Syracuse. One of his friends, named Damocles, begged to be allowed one day to dine at the royal table. The king, therefore, invited him one day to a banquet, whereat the most rare and costly foods and wines and delicacies of all kinds were served. Damocles had barely taken his seat at the table when he glanced up above his head and observed a sword over his head, suspended by a single horsehair. Nothing before him at the table any longer tempted his appetite. He could eat nothing in his terror, for every moment his life was in danger if that horsehair should snap. Well, in a similar way, the sword of death hangs over our heads by day and by night. At any moment, God may call us out of this world. If we always have the thought of death ever present to our mind, we will surely not take excessive delight in earthly pleasures. In other words, if we thought we were going to die right now, we would certainly not be falling into mortal sins. We would do everything we could to make sure that our soul was not going to be eternally damned to hell. Again, this is why the time and the hour of our death is not revealed to us, because if it were, we would not be so cautious about the way we are guarding our soul at every minute of our life. And when it comes to our souls, Jesus says, gird your loins and light your lamps, for at an hour you do not expect, the Son of Man will come. This message I think, is more urgent for us today than it ever has been before. We need to see the gravity of the moral state of the world we are living in. Consider some of the big things that we encounter. Think of the sins of abortion and fetal experimentation on live aborted babies, widespread use of contraception, the floodgates of immorality open through television, movies, and the internet, unprecedented corruption of our youth through music, the movie industries, the internet, our books that kids are being asked to read in school, or even the schools themselves and the way they are teaching gender-neutral attitudes, or gender transformation, or same-sex attraction as normal, or the fashions that children are wearing, and the many ways that biology is completely ignored. You know, there is a tsunami of sins against the first commandment that are not even recognized as sins against the first commandment. Does this indicate that we are a people who are girding our loins and weighted with lighted lamps? I'm not sure. In 1917, 105 years ago, Our Lady of Fatima said that souls were falling into hell like snowflakes from the sky. Do you think the moral status of our society is better or worse today than it was in 1917? More specifically, if today is the day when we will go to our judgment seat, how will our soul fare? Will it be full of alms and good deeds to present to the Lord? Or will there be a money bag full of material possessions that you have no way of presenting to Him? Or you could say it another way. Have you ever seen a hearse with a U-Haul behind it? Will it be a soul that is pure and clean because of frequent confessions? Or will it be a soul that is hiding in shame because of a sin that we couldn't let go of, or we didn't get the courage to present, or we just didn't want to let go of in the throne of God's mercy? Surely, we do not know the day nor the hour. But you know, it really doesn't matter what day or what hour. All that really matters in the end is whether or not our spiritual bags are packed and ready to go.